Hello everybody, it's me Sam here from WoopaGaming, and today I'm going to show you how to use and install the faction plugin for buckets. So first of all, what is a faction plugin? The faction plugin is basically a clan system, I guess, a clan or guild system, whatever you want to call it, for bucket. So you can create groups of people, and then you can take over bits of land and then build on it, and then you can ally with other factions and then have wars against other factions, and then there's all this other extra stuff which I'll go over. But I'm just going to show you how to use it first, and then I'm going to go over how to install it. So, the main command for this is F. For this plugin you don't actually have to use the /, you can just type F and it'll do the same thing. So, the help pages are not in the order we're going to be doing it, because we need to create a faction first and then I'll go over them. So that's the first thing we're going to do. It's on help page 2. So you do F and then H and then 2. So for each different help page you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and H is that. So we'll want to be on the second page, so FH2. And there we are, factions help page 2. We're going to create one. So we do that by going F, create, and then the faction tag. So this is what everyone will see you as. So I'm going to call it Woopa. So there we are. So you've created a new faction, Woopa. So now if I talk, you can see my faction tag is on the left of my name. So that's how you distinguish who's in the faction. You'll notice 2 stars next to my name. That means I'm the admin of the faction. This is set by default. You can change this in the configuration. But if it has 1 star, for instance, that means you're a mod. And if you have no stars, then you have nothing in the faction. You're just like a recruit, I guess. Okay, so now once we've created a faction, we can describe it. So F disc or description, and then we name our description. So we've got it, the best faction ever. Lots of Z's for good effect. So there we are. So the faction, your faction, change the description to the best faction ever. Okay. So if we do, right, so let's go to help page 1, and we're going to do flist. Now flist will show all the factions on the server, so, and it also show all the people who don't have a faction. So faction list, there's only 1 person online, which is me. Faction list 0 online, so there's no people without a faction, and then there's 1 person with a faction, and they're in the faction Woopa. So there's 1 person in that faction, and he's online. And this numbers here, these mean land, power, and something else. Let me just, right, to get that, we do F show. Okay, yeah, power, max power. So if we do F show, it shows information about the faction we are in. So at the top we have our faction name tag, which is Woopa, the description, the type of joining, so we'll go over that later, and then land, power, max power. So how much land we have is 0. The power at the moment we have is 10, and max power is 10. So each power relates to a land piece. So we can get a maximum of 10 land at the moment. Now we can increase our max power by having more members, or by modifying it as an admin. And our power and max power will increase. Now, when you die, however, your faction power will decrease. This will allow other members to, or not other members, other factions to take over your land. So it's very wary. I would advise not to die, and then you'll never get stolen from again. You also see allies and enemies here. We'll go over that later. And then you can see all the members online and offline. So there you go. So that's the show command. We can also do F power, and that will show how much power you have. So you can see U power, max power, so I have 10 power at the moment and the max power of 10. So if I was to die, I would lose some power. My max power would stay the same, however. I would lose some power, and then I wouldn't be able to get as much land until it goes up after time. So it's alright. Okay, so if you want people to join a faction, do F join and then the faction tag, which would be Woopa. I'm already a member of Woopa, so I can't join a faction, so there you go. So there's also F leave, and then that will just leave the faction. F space leave. That will leave the faction, and if I do that now, I've left the faction and it was disbanded now because there's no one left in the faction, so it'll just go away. So let's have to create that again. And we won't bother with the description this time. Okay, so next there is claiming land. So I think that's on hub page 3. Right, okay. So there's F claim, auto claim, and all this stuff. So let's go over. So F claim. This will claim the chunk where we're standing on, a 16 by 16 square of all the blocks that are in our faction. So we claim it from the wilderness. Everything is wilderness until it's claimed by a faction, and then it turns into their faction land. So if I was to walk out here, you can see I've walked into the wilderness, and it's notified me I walked into the wilderness. When I walk back into the land, it says Woopa default faction description, because I didn't change it. So there you go. I'm now in this land. Now only faction members can build in this land and use chests in this land and whatnot. So if anyone was to come along and starts to grief this, they wouldn't be able to unless they're in the faction. And that's they can't open chests, they can't open dispensers, that sort of thing. There are bypassers to this, and I'll go over that later. Also something to note that also enemies will deal half the damage to you when you're in your own faction. So say I was standing here in my faction and then Torrent came along and he was in the opposite faction and he was to attack me, he would do half the damage of what he would normally do. So it's quite advisable to stay in the faction and get land and whatnot. So to claim more land, we just walk around and then do F claim, and hey presto, we got some more land. So now it's all well and good seeing all this land being claimed, but we actually want to see it. So I believe that's hub page 4. Yep, so F map. And this will display a map of all the surrounding area and all the factions. So this blue plus is where we are at the moment. At the top it also shows where we are. So we're on coordinate 0, -4, which is the chunk we're in, and what faction we're in if we're in a faction, so Woopa. And then down here we'll have all the keys of all the factions. So /Woopa, and then you might have like hashtag, another clan and whatnot. And then on this map will show you all the locations of the land. So you see this, the yellow, not the yellow, light green /, that's our land, and I'm also, that plus is also our land because I'm in that chunk at the moment. This compass on the side is also very useful. This orientates it, so up is north, of course, and this is where I'm facing, so I'm facing northwest. So if I change around and look up, then I'll be facing north. And there you are, facing north. So we can turn this map on forever, and we just do that by doing F map on. And now as we walk around, you'll notice as we change from chunk to chunk, our little cursor will change, and you can see I can go east now, and I'm moving away from my faction. So if you get lost from your faction, or you want to see where another faction is, you can always have a look at the map and just keep it on the whole time. So there I'm back in my faction home. Right, let's turn that up by doing F map off. Boom. Right, I'm saying boom. We're doing F no boom now. Now this only applies to peaceful actions at the moment, so F no boom on. This won't work because I'm not a peaceful faction. Only admins, can change the faction peacefulness, and we'll go over that later. So we can also set the owner of a claim land, so we can do F owner Sankyo failed. And this will set the owner of the claim land, so this bit of land is now owned to me. And we can also see the owners of this land by doing F owner list, and then I'm the only land owner of this land. So there you go, that's how you see the owners. FH, let's see what's on page 3. Okay, so we can also unclaim land by doing, let's just unclaim it here. So let's do F. Oh wait, actually let's do F show. Let's just show you something. So you'll notice that my land has increased. So now we've got 2 lands. Now I'm going to unclaim it. So F unclaim. and now we uncloud this chunk so we can expand elsewhere. For instance, if I do F show now, we can see that we've only got one land. We can also unclaim all. I'm not going to do that. Unclaim all, and that's how you do it. And now, so that's how you unclaim all the faction land, and you can readjust it to how you like. F kick, if you don't like someone in your clan and you want to get rid of them, just type their name. Next turn, of course. F kick up so much, because he's not in the faction, so we can't kick him. We can mod people. So we're doing F mod, and we get admin people. This admins and mods are different. Alright, let's go over that. Mods are allowed to invite players into the faction. They can kick players out of the faction, and they can claim and unclaim land. The overall but they can't give out mods to people. Only the admin can give out mods to people. So F admin, and then you would type the player name in here. But that would hand over, because there can only be one admin of a faction. Lastly on this title is F title, and you can change this. So F title Sankhya, and then we'll go like that. Yep, that's going to be my title. And so I've changed my title to, I can't even say that as a word. Two eyes. Okay, so now I've changed my title to 0.0. I don't know why I did, but I did. And now to see that in effect, we're going to talk, but this won't work because we're in global chat. We can change our chat to do FC, and now we're in alliance chat mode, so only people in our alliance can see it. So that's with other factions in our alliance. We can also do FC again, and this will be faction only mode. So now if we talk, you'll see our title there, and you can assign different titles to different people in your faction and whatnot. On speaking of allies and axis, we're going to go over that now. Damn it, there we go, right. FH6, FH5, yeah. F ally, and then another ally faction tag, so we'll do it. The Nooblets, so we're going to ally the Nooblets, but of course the faction doesn't exist. We can be neutral with another faction by doing F neutral Nooblets, and again they can't be found, but they will have to accept any allies or neutral requests. And you can also be a foe of a faction by doing F enemy, and then a thing. So we'll do it Ashtan. That's spelled wrong. But that's a faction on one of the servers I found. Okay, so there you go. That's how you do it with the axis, and then if you do F show, it'll show the allies and enemies there. Okay, so let's go on to the admin commands. I believe we've gone over all the normal player commands. So these are for opt if you're got no permission system or the relevant permission nodes. I'm going to go over the permission nodes for the purpose of this tutorial. Okay, so F bypass on. So now we'll be able to build and destroy and open chests anywhere, despite what faction we are in. So admins can play, or they can just bypass the whole system altogether. Now this is, I think, quite a good feature. I remember when it was out, first of all, the bypass system wasn't available. It was quite annoying, but I'm glad they added it now, so that's all good. We can also claim safe zones and war zones as an admin. So I'm just going to walk out into the wilderness a bit. So let's do F claim safe zone. There we are. We claim the safe zone there, so that's where people can just be safe from any faction and stuff. And as well as claiming safe zones, we can also claim war zones. So this will be where people will fight. So now if I do F map, we should see them on the map. There we are. So war zones are the dark red and safe zones are the orange. I found a typing thing. It was 8, wasn't it? Right. So you can also auto-claim safe zones and auto-claim war zones by doing that, and you've got infinite amount of walking power, I guess. So you can just make a whole area safe zone. Might be a good idea to make the safe zone, for instance, spawn and whatnot. So there you go. And then we can turn it off by doing the same thing. Auto-claim safe zone. And then that will disable it. And that's the same for war zones as well. We can unclaim all the safe zone and the war zone by doing NF safe zone, not safe zone, safe unclaim all, and that will unclaim all the safe zone areas, and we can do that with war zone as well. War unclaim all, and that will unclaim all the war zones. We can do F peaceful, and then what was our faction name again? That was it. This will make a faction peaceful. Now, what does this do? Basically, they'll be able to set no boom on and off. So that's like explosions. So toggling explosions in their faction. They cannot be killed by anyone, and people can't kill them. So it's not very good if you want to be a fighting faction. You wouldn't be a peaceful one. However, the benefits of being a faction which is peaceful, despite from not no being boom, people cannot steal your land. So one of the things when I was playing on one of our servers with factions on was that people kept claiming our land, kept stealing our stuff, which was quite annoying. So we decided to go peaceful, and now that has stopped. So there you go. Whoa, 3 frames a second. What is going on? What is going on? Luckily we're almost finished. FH9, the last help page. And there you go. Right, so let's go over this. F, permanent faction tag. So we can just designate a faction as a permanent faction. So if everyone leaves a faction, then it's disbanded. However, if we do this, for instance, F permanent, oh, that's the best panel spinning, permanent Woopa. So there we are. It will always be there. So if I disband it by doing F that might not work. We'll give it a go. The faction is designated at permanent, so you can't disband it. We can do F leave. And there we are, we left the faction there. If we do F list now, we should see Woopa. Despite no one being in it, it cannot be disbanded. You can also change the power of it by doing permanent power Woopa, and then how much power, so give it a lot of 9s. And if we do F list now, we can see how much power they have, so they can take over that much land. We can turn the lock on or off. So this is just the plugin writing on and off to the disk. You have to know about this. F reload just reloads the factions as well. F save saves it to the disk. You can do F save all as well. F version shows the version of factions you're running, and F config, which we're not going to go over, but you can assign different values in the config, so I can do the setting and then what I want it to change to. But I'm not going to go over it because there's quite a lot of config settings. We'll probably go over that in the second part of this tutorial. So that's, I believe, that's something to do with wars. Well, I've gone over quite a lot. I hope that you enjoyed that bit. The next bit I'm going to be going over the actual installation of the plugin itself on the other side. So see you in a bit. Hello everybody, welcome to the second part of the tutorial. We'll be going over the installation and configuration of the Factions plugin. Okay, so this is the Factions bed. You can read all the stuff there, but we're interested in this download link, so click this download link here. And we also want the JSON library as well. So we'll download this, Put a keep, and we'll download the latest version. Faction switcher. Let's go for that one. So keep both of those, and open up your factions directory or wherever it is. In plugins, you're going to want to drag the factions jar into there, and then go back up to your main root directory, create a new folder called libs. Now I think it's libs, it might be lib, hopefully it's that. And then you're going to want to drag in the JSON jar into there. Now let's run the server up. Hopefully it was libs. It was lib. See, I only need it and I cannot read. It was lib. For some reason on my past it provided libs, so we don't actually need that. But there you are. It'll download it automatically for you if you're incompetent and you name it libs instead of lib. But there you go. There's all the, it should say all the downloading it, and we created a configuration, and there you are. So now let's look in the plugins, actions, and then you can see all the JSON files. Let's open conf.json, or .json, you know what I mean. And we'll open WordPad. The awesomeness of WordPad. Okay, so let's go over these commands, well, most of them. So the base command, as we're using in-game, it was F. We can change that to what we like. Another idea could be faction, or factions, or fact, or anything like that. Allow no slash command. So if you also notice in game, this is why it's useful to go in the game first. We can also see how the config affects it. Allow no slash, so we can just type F and then help, for instance, without doing the slash. We can turn that on or off. These are all the configuration for the colors. You can change them to how you want. The power player maximum. So this is the maximum the player has. This is how much they have on their startup. As we saw in game, it was 10. Now when the player dies, they can actually go negative, and they can get a minimum of 10, minus 10 power. Power per minute. This is how much power they gain back per minute. So it'll take about 5 minutes to get 1 power point back. And power per death. This is how much they lose per death. So effectively, they could die potentially once every 20 minutes, and they will just stay the same faction. Power regen offline. So if the player can only regen when he's online, if they're offline, he cannot regen his power. So you can turn that to true or false there. Power offline loss per day. So say a person isn't online one day, they can lose power for that day. As you can see, default is 0. And how much offline loss limit is how much they lose. So say they were off like a whole year, I don't know why, they would only be that limit there. The power faction max, 0 for no maximum power, because of course as more players come on, the max power increases, and so that if you want to cap that, you can set that there. Prefix admin, you'll notice it was a double star. We can change that to whatever we like, and then the prefix of mod is star. We can change that to like mod of a faction, and then we can change that to an admin of a faction. But unfortunately, people might get confused and think they're admin of the server. But that's totally up to you. You can change that to whatever you like. The faction tag length minimum, so that's the boundary of characters that you're allowed. So you can't have anything less than 3 and anything more than 10. Faction tag force uppercase, so if you force it all to be uppercase, you can turn it to true or false. New factions default open, so when you create a faction, that's what I forgot to do in game, to turn a faction on or off. Oh well, you'll have a look at the thing and you'll know. Faction, so basically you can set factions to be open or closed. If open, anyone can just join it, willy-nilly. If it's closed, they have to be invited only, so you can send that to true or false and start up. New player starting faction ID. Now this is quite a cool thing. You can see the IDs, which will look later, but if a new player joins the game, they automatically get put into this faction 0 for no faction or factionless. Show map faction key, that's just the map, and set it to true or false, all the variables there, so just turning on and off stuff. What else is there? Have anything interesting? Anyway, okay, so they can also log factions as well. When people do these actions, creating, disbanding, it will log it to the server.log. You can set that to true or false there. Oh, that's another thing, we didn't go over homes. Homes are cool as well. Oh, anyway, so basically I'll go over it now. F home to teleport to your faction home, and F set home to set a home in your faction. Has to be in your area. And when you die, home teleport to death, you should go to your faction home. So that's true or false, as opposed to the spawn. So there you are. So you can... Oops, I'm dropping stuff. These are all the factions here, and it also plays a smoke effect when you teleport. So you can set that to true or false there, and whatnot. You can also disable PvP between neutral factions. So if you don't want neutral factions to have PvP, you can set that to true, and such like factionless players. Peaceful territories disable PvP. So if you want peaceful territories to have PvP still, then you can set it to false. Disable monsters, so if monsters are spawning their faction, and also members disable power loss. So if you're a peaceful faction, you don't lose power, but you can set that to false there, and then they would lose power. Claims must be connected, so if they're claiming land, it must be connected to an original piece of claimed land. There we are. Territory enemy deny commands. Alright, here. So if you're in a enemy territory, these are the commands they cannot use. So they can't use spawn, they can't teleport out, they have to walk out and then use the command. So if you have a different plugin, I don't know, like a mhome or something, then you can add mhome there and they won't be able to teleport out. So this is just all the factions about blocking creepers, blocking fireballs. This is like the world edit basic thing, so if you don't want people to build in factions, you can set it true. These are just all applying to territories, you can read that for yourself. Safe zones, so these are just zones that are basically public but they cannot be built in. As you can see, deny build true, so they can't do anything there, they can't claim it and whatnot. War zones, so you can set that to so basically free-for-all area kind of thing. So there you go. And then wilderness, you can also do what you like there. And that applies. These are basically all the same, just applying for different things. Wilderness owned, war zone, safe zone, and whatnot. Okay, so these are all the protected materials. So other players cannot modify any of these, basically interact with them, so they can't change diodes, they can't open a trapdoor and whatnot. They can add more materials, and also they can't use any of these, they can't use a bucket, a lava bucket, whatnot. So add more there, and then that's the same when offline as opposed to online, and they're basically the same there. Spout faction tags. Oh no, I never used the spout integration with this. But if you do have a spout server, you'll be able to utilise all these, and there's quite a lot of cool things. Like for instance the capes. If you're a cape allies to a faction, you can see this cape. If I just load up that URL here, you can see what it looks like. And there you are, it's a purple cape if you're an ally. And I'm guessing it's going to be a red cape if you're an enemy. I'm only guessing, just guessing there. Ah, look at that, red cape. So yeah, so if you're an enemy to a member, they'll have a red cape and whatnot. And then if you can use economy as well. So if you are using an economy system which is enabled with register, so that's like economy plus economy, quite the top economy systems. you can set it to true, and then you can pay people to charge stuff. So it will cost to claim land, it will cost to change the tag, it will cost to teleport home, and stuff like that. So you can enable how much it costs there and set it to true or false. And then you can also have a bank for a faction and so on not. And then you got these worlds no claiming. So basically, if you got like a nether world which you don't want people to claim land in, you can set nether world there. And then worlds where there's no power loss, I don't know, you had like a war world where people died all the time. That could be an idea to put it there. And there you are there. So that's all the things there. Lots of configuration there. Gone over some of it. Enough of it, I believe. Tags. Right, so these are the tags. Depending on what letter, you get a different colour. Not even sure what that is. Right, well. And this is where your board.json will be where all your factions information is. So if someone creates a faction, this will get populated and whatnot. So that concludes today's tutorial. That was quite a long one. Thanks for sticking it around to the end. I hope it was informative. Didn't go over everything, but I did go over quite a lot. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been me, Sam K, WoopaGaming, signing out.